Hello everyone, nubkeks here. Welcome back to Nub Raids. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the fragment event calendar that's just gone live for Brewguard Jeroboam. I actually will probably put up a poll after this as well, seeing how many people are actually going to be going for this fusion. I'm curious. It seems like it's a fairly unpopular fusion, but for anyone doing it, let's break it down. Let's see what you should be trying to do. Because there's some interesting things happening here as well. Also to note, Plarium has issued a response already to the data mine stuff about the shield cap multiplier in the code and if that applies to Wixwell, etc. I'm not going to talk about it in this video, but I'll do another video talking about it. We don't get bogged down, right? This video is just about the event calendar. You want to, if you're big into drama, I suppose, the Wixwell stuff is coming later. Right, let's go in then. What do we have happening? So we do have 130 fragments up for grabs. Now, 20 of those are from tournament leaderboards, so forget about it. So you basically have 110. And interestingly enough, within that, as you see, within that 110, there's actually a hero's path involved. You can skip 10 fragments total. You're not going to be able to skip this entire hero's path. If we come over then to the summoning events, this is what's very interesting. We've got hero's path over here and a champion chase over here. So these are the two summoning events involved in this fusion. So yeah, instead of a summon rush, we're getting a hero's path. It's kind of curious. I'm not exactly sure what sort of rewards might be in there. I actually wouldn't be shocked, you know, if this hero's path had like souls for Brewguard Jeroboam. They often put a hero's path or a Titan event after the fusion, especially like with Thor, right? Thor is a great example. Thor fusion followed by a Thor Titan event. I think that Brewguard Jeroboam being less hyped up and less popular, I think it's more likely that, you know, I don't see them doing a Titan event for his soul or anything afterwards. I think it's decently likely it could be in this Heroes Pass. Just be like, okay, people aren't that into the fusion, but we'll just make it be part of the fusion. And, you know, obviously it's going to be a lot more expensive to actually get the soul than it is to get just the fragments. But yeah, it might be in there. So I would sort of prepare for that. And my expectation then after this fusion is that's coming up to the end of the Asgard divide. I'd be expecting to see like summon events. Probably that deck of fate for Freya is going to be in there. I think we're still due a summon pool for Odin. I don't think that's shown up yet. So I'd be expecting some Asgard divide type stuff. Yeah, basically coming into over this side. Over here, also just for our reference as well, Tuesday, Wednesday, that's Siege. I'll just put an S there. And then this Tuesday, Wednesday is CVC. So again, you're likely to see some summon events overlapping this CVC as well. The last one was personal rewards, I think. So this one is likely to not be personal rewards. It might be, it might not be. I'd sort of be expecting it's not personal rewards. And yeah, like I said, I'd be sort of expecting a big last hurrah with personal rewards, CVC, and lots of events for Asgard Divide coming to the end of it. Okay, cool. So that's where we're at with these summon events. I would be guessing roughly for this hero's path is probably safe to go in with 10 sacreds or, you know, so the equivalent, you know, maybe like 30 voids or something like that. Probably a decent bet. Just to be sure. Good thing with hero's path is that it often does include other events. Now it's overlapping. I've actually blocked it. It's overlapping champion training is already there. So it's not likely to be champion training. It's also overlapping artifact enhancement. It's not likely to be artifact enhancement. However, we only have, in fact, let me put some colors on these as well. We only have 2 dungeon divers. So this would be my bet. This hero's path is likely let's put it in over here. Probably like shards and dungeon divers, but in a big question mark, so it's clear that that is speculation, but I think pretty likely. We often see 3 dungeon divers per fusion. This is probably shards plus DD, and I would say probably about, you know, 10 sacreds is a rough rule of thumb for how many to have. Hopefully it will be a little bit cheaper, you never know, but probably about that to be safe. And I'd be expecting to get, if they do put like a 5-star soul for him in there, they might only do a 4-star, might be no soul, but if there's a soul, I would be expecting more like 20 sacreds for the soul, probably, if that's in there. Maybe even a bit more. I don't know. Or it could be that, you know, to go get the soul, it might not include all the fragments. You might need to, you know, you might get 10 fragments going the path to the soul, and then you might need to spend an extra few shards to get the other fragments if you're looking to get them all. Again, it's hard to know for sure. That would be my guess, though. But I guess we'll see when we get closer. Right then, for the more basic stuff that's part of this fusion, well, we've covered there's 2 dungeon divers, and like I'd say, I would expect the hero's path to be dungeon divers as well. Um, Go back up to the thick brush, which we decided to use today. We've got 3 artifact enhancements. These are fairly straightforward. You're looking at probably about 20 million silver to be safe for each one. You basically just save your silver for artifact enhancement. That's really all there is to it. It's that simple. Just never spend silver outside of artifact enhancement, and you're done. But we've got 3 of those. It's quite a lot. But it's fairly standard for fusions these days. Nothing too unique there. For Classic Arena, we've got 2 of those. Again, those are very easy. You just got to do your arena fights, and really, so long as you're in silver, it should be fine. If you're in gold, it should be very easy. So not too much stress there. Then, finally, we do have... Well, actually, not finally. We've got 2 champion training tournaments. Or 1 champion training tournament. The tournament being unique in that you can use skill tomes. That has started today. And then we got another champion training event towards the end. Then, for our energy, what color will we use? I guess we'll use a dark... We'll use a dark green for that. We've got Dragon. We have Fire Knight. We have Spider. And we have Ice Golem Tournament. So what I would do here to start things out, let's go in with red, and let's make it small. I would be doing champ training here at the start. Once Dungeon Diver starts, that's when I'd be going into Dragon, right? So I'd be going into Dragon with Dungeon Divers. That would be my plan right there. This first Fire Knight does overlap the Dungeon Divers a bit, so you can definitely get some of those in. The end of it doesn't overlap this other Dungeon Diver, so I'd be saying probably try get your Fire Knight in for the end of Dungeon Divers right there. Now, you can do a bit more elsewhere, but that's probably ideal. There is actually no other energy spending over this upcoming weekend, Saturday and Sunday. It's literally just, there's Fire Knight, and Fire Knight actually stops on Sunday. So there's nothing really to spend your energy on until Spider starts. So I'd be kind of just, do most of Dungeon Divers 1 with Dragon, finish it off a bit with Fire Knight if you need, and then just sort of slowly do Fire Knight over the weekend would be my sort of thought on that. Spider tournament then, that really starts with Dungeon Divers 2. So Dungeon Divers 2 is more in here, and you really want to do the whole thing within Spider. This overlaps CVC as well. So this particular chunk is quite good, right? The CVC overlap for points, unless you want to avoid CVC points, which might be the case if it's not personal rewards, which it looks like it is probably not personal rewards. So you might want to get Spider done on Monday, so you can chill for CVC if your clan is trying to score low or whatever. Just be aware of that. Then finally, we've got Ice Golem Tournament. Again, I'm guessing this Ice Golem Tournament is fairly likely to overlap with the Hero's Path and reduce your shard cost a little bit. I'd say it's probably not a massive deal, though. Dungeon Divers in the Hero's Path tends to be not great. And there's the champion training as well. So it's a little bit energy intensive there at the end. You might want to honestly just get Ice Golem done as soon as it starts. Just get it out of the way. There's nothing else really happening on the Thursday that's energy-wise or too important. It's after CVC. This is a good time, honestly, probably to get the Ice Golem done and then focus more on champ training during the Hero's Path. That's still going to get you some Dungeon Diver points and just mean that you're not really strapped for energy on those days. So that's sort of my thoughts about it. Again, it's the classic fusion start, isn't it? Where Dungeon Divers starts a day later. So yeah, focus on your champion training now. Because he is a fragment fusion, it does mean that excess... If you don't finish the fusion, you can still grab some of these fragments, and you can transfer them into chests for mod of some value. Depends how close you are to mod or how often you intend to do this sort of thing in fusions. Some value there. Because it's a fragment fusion, again, you don't need to summon him in any time limit. So long as you have the 100 fragments, you can get them at the end. Another thing to note with fragment fusions is they do quite often sell you some fragments afterwards, so long as you've got enough. So if you're missing 10, maybe 20 fragments, you can usually buy those. Now, they're usually fairly expensive. To buy 10 fragments is, off the top of my head, I'd say it's probably about $20. But it can be an interesting strategy if you are intending to, let's say, buy shards for, I don't know, Champion Chase for the fragments. You could potentially just buy the fragments for money instead. You don't get the champions you would pull from the shards, but it might be cheaper. Again, this is just purely in terms of spenders. Obviously, if you're free to play or low spend, that's probably not really relevant. But at least it's something to note. It's a nice thing about the fragment fusions. If you mess them up, at least there's often the option to buy some fragments at the end. Whereas that's not the case with more traditional fusions. You're just screwed. But there you go. Yeah, let me know if I've missed anything or if there's any other tips you guys have. To me, this looks fairly easy and straightforward, really. Yeah, I mean, the big question mark is really mostly the hero's path. Like, that could be kind of expensive. I'm sort of expecting it not to be crazy expensive. I do expect to get the fragments to be pretty equivalent to a summon rush. And yeah, like I said, I sort of guess maybe it will have his soul in there. I don't think it's very valuable soul, but you can get it. And hey, you know what? Even getting a 3-star soul could be kind of nice, right? Just a 3-star effect, get some extra HP and defense for him. It's decent, and that might not be too expensive. So it's something that's worth considering. If you're skipping this fusion entirely, if it is just a soul for him in the hero's path, that makes it quite an easy skip then, right? If it is a soul hero's path, it's really only for people doing the fusion. And yeah, like I said, I'm expecting Asgard Divide stuff coming up after this. So if you're a saver or a spender, probably likely lots of great opportunities towards the end of October. But there you go. That is the Brewguard Jeroboam fusion. That's what it's looking like. For me, I don't think I'm going to be doing this one, unfortunately, because I am flying to Japan tomorrow. I actually had a nightmare today. I was woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning with horrible pain in like my ear and my eye. I've taken some paracetamol and stuff. It's not too bad now. I've had to go to the GP and stuff. Be like, shit, is this an ear infection? Like, if I got an ear infection one day before this trip to Japan, luckily it's not. He doesn't have any idea what's causing it, though, which is a little bit worrying in itself. But it's not too bad. And then there's a whole confusion with painkillers because I have Crohn's disease and he gave me painkillers I can't actually take because they make Crohn's disease worse. It's a whole nightmare. But it's all getting sorted, and that should be fine. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to Japan tomorrow, and I'm going to be gone until like the 25th or so of October. I'm going to be gone for basically all of this. So I don't know. I might pick up some fragments just for mod stuff. I might do nothing. I might just ignore all of this and just be like, whenever I have time, I'll hop on and just do some Sand Devil or Shogun or Minotaur, something like that. Just really chill. But yeah, I probably won't do this fusion. I don't particularly want him or need him. He would be kind of nice because I've got a Vizug. I think it's a decent combo. But yeah, I'm not too crazy pushed. I like to do all the fusions. I like to collect them, but holidays come first. Okay, guys, that's it. I'll see you later for news about Wixwell. Chat to you all then. Goodbye.